Hey there, everyone. I hope you're well. I just want to do this brief little message before we get to the actual sermon message, just to explain kind of a little what was going on. We had gotten done with worship and everything like that, and I just really felt this pressing in my spirit to just share some stuff that was on our heart, to really talk about the state of kind of where Nexus is in Crookston, who we are, what our goals are, and to really be transparent about a fear that I had on my heart. I want you to know that we are doing quite well as a ministry, and we have been very blessed to continue to be able to do the work that we're doing in Crookston, and I am eager for many more years, as many years as the Lord will give us, to continue to be doing our work, and by faith that'll be for most of my lifetime. And so, but some of the stuff that we shared during this time, we want you to understand that this is just really an impromptu conversation that I'm having with the people that were there today. And we're talking about the future of our ministry. We're talking about some of the risks that we have as a ministry, because there are risks. We are a new church plant, and COVID has been really hard on us, and there are risks. And it's important I feel it's really important for our community to know everything that's going on the table, and where we sit and where we stand with stuff. And this really wants you to see, as you listen to this and you understand what's going on, really know this is from a heart of love, of where we are at and the state of our ministry and what we're getting ready to do. And there's a lot of great things that we have going on, and there's a lot of areas that we are looking to improve and get better. And so I love you guys. If you weren't able to make it, I hope to see you as soon as we are able to see you, and be blessed. Hello?
Hi.
Hey guys, how we doing?
Good.
Awesome. Take my mask off. Got a bunch of these because they look cooler.
Where do we get those at?
I don't know, Instagram showed them to me and said if I bought one I got 5 free, so I did.
Is that for the Robert?
Yeah, like I can do a whole bunch of stuff with these, but I'll just be like, oh yeah. Now I'm protected in the cold. Stuff, like a whole bunch of options. All the options. It's not just for covering your face.
You could put it up on your head like a headband.
I can actually, see, that's like one of the things that you can do with it.
So now you're like slightly gangster.
Yeah, give me a sec. And then, all right, so now I've got a sweatband. It's got all the options. It's good. The whole package has like 10 different ways to wear it properly. No ways to wear it improperly yet. But I'm sure I can find one. I've got a message prepared, but I've also got other stuff that's just kind of like on my mind. And so I'm going to do the old-fashioned kind of open forum thing. I've done this before, where I've just kind of talked and just like let people know what's kind of going on. And so, I'll splice the video together and post this out, because I think this is important for people to see and to hear. So hopefully we've got the audacity going. Yep, because Bill is a champ. He's absolutely amazing. Give me a applause. There's so many things being the pastor that come onto my heart, that come on very heavily, things that come to my mind. And there's just stuff that, you guys know I'm a guy of transparency. I like things out on the table. I think that most of the reasons why a lot of pastors burn out is because they don't have a safe forum to share everything that's on their heart. There's some pastors that if they put it all on the line, there's a risk that they lose half their membership, And that fear can be very intimidating, very scary. And I don't feel that us as Nexus have ever been in that type of position with us. We've always had we started very open, very transparent. We've always let people see all the ugly of kind of who we are. And so I think that's why we have some of the people that we have here, just because that's a little bit unique. I think that's a little bit unique, at least from my vantage point of different ministries that I've been a part of in my life. And so I want to start out with saying I am scared. I am scared for us. I genuinely am scared for us. Now, we're not supposed to have a spirit of fear, but that doesn't mean that we don't feel fear. Right? We're not supposed to have a spirit of fear, and that's the good rah, rah, rah mantra that us as Christians push forward. It's like, well, I'm scared. Well, you're not supposed to have a spirit of fear. It's like, right, but I can still be scared. I mean, I'm still scared. That doesn't get rid of the emotion. That doesn't get rid of the thought of that I'm scared. Right? And you might ask, well, what are you scared of? I am scared that all the work that we have done could in a year or two be undone. That's what I'm scared of. Are we at risk of that? I don't think we are. I don't think we are, but I am scared of that fear. So when people ask, hey, how's the church doing? Like, these are people that aren't members of our church. When people ask Dan, hey, how's the church doing? So a friend of mine, yesterday I got asked this question. And I get asked it pretty often when people see me, especially if they don't see me regularly. And this is my friend Trent, came up from Nebraska, and I got to see my friend Kyle. So these are guys that I hadn't really seen in like a year. Or a year and a half. I hadn't been in person with them in a while, so they asked a question. And there's so many different answers, but to boil it down, when I make it a short answer, is, we're doing good. Financially, we're really healthy. We've got a good, strong core, but we're fragile. Fragile is the word that I can describe this really well. And the answer is why. If we lost 4 families, if 4 of you groups just said, we're done. I'm going somewhere else, I'm done. That would drain us very heavily. I don't think we are not at risk of closing or defeat by money at all. Money is not what's going that threatens us. Money doesn't threaten us. The threat that to our community is us as people. That's the threat to our community. To people saying, I don't feel connected here, so I'm just leaving. Or, it's kind of inconvenient, the drive isn't that good, so I'm just not going to come. Those different things. Going pre-COVID, we had really strong momentum in community. COVID damaged our community. It did. And I see that damage more and more the longer this draws out. The longer some families that are really pivotal to our ministry say, we're not coming till this is done. That hurts. It's the smart choice for their family, so I'm not saying that that's the wrong thing to do, but for the overall community landscape, that does damage us. Because that means that now we're not seeing these people regularly, so they are being distanced. So all the work that we did around the table, all the work that we did working together, all the every weekly thing that we did during the week and on the weekends that bound us together and made us say, your family, you're part of the community, is being undone the longer that we go without seeing each other. The longer we go without seeing each other, the more far removed you feel from the community. The more far removed you feel from the family, till eventually you go, family isn't an accurate word for me anymore. It doesn't feel like family. It's like, well, yeah, we haven't seen you in 3 months. And you don't text, you don't call, and you don't comment on anything. So you're just out there, isolated. And so of course you're not going to feel like family. And so the longer this COVID thing draws out, the further risk we have to our ministry, to the work that we've done. That's the reality that we have. Now we have a strong core. We have a strong group of committed people. But commitment in the church has changed. Commitment in the church when I was growing up used to be you were there every Sunday, you were there every Wednesday, then there was Sunday school, you were there for that. You always gave your tithes, and then you gave an extra offering. And then anytime there was something that needed to be done, you were there. That's a huge commitment level, right? Especially in 2020, that's asking a lot. Now, 2020, a lot of people can say, when they say, yeah, I'm committed to the church, it's like, I'm there once every month. That's kind of the new average of I'm committed to the church, I'm there once a month. Once a month attendance doesn't build strong community. It doesn't. And so living in that season makes it harder for us to rebuild some of the damage that's been caused by COVID. That's why I fear. I fear that despite everything that I do, that, so let me explain what I feel like I do. My calling is to create a platform for people to stand on, to be empowered by God to go forward in their calling. I didn't come here to Crookston to launch Nexus to stand in front of the camera and talk to people because I'm a good preacher or because I want people to hear what I have to say. I came here to empower others into their calling, to take people that are on the bench or feel like they're on the bench and want to play the game and say, no, you get in the game. Let's multiply this. What are you called to do? I'm called to do this, then let's do it. You know, I think, well, it's probably last year sometime, I told you guys that we don't want a family of sheep, we want a family of sheepdogs. We don't want to be a bunch of sheep sitting in a chair following Dan Holwerda around. We want to be a bunch of sheepdogs, getting as many sheep as we can, and then training them how to be sheepdogs as well, and going out and being empowered in our calling. When people walk in and they say, what are you called to do? I don't want the answer to be, I'm called to sit in a chair and listen to Dan talk. Because if that's all you're here for, then are you really being fulfilled in your calling? Now I have some really good friends that are called to just finance. They just make money. It's like they wake up out of bed and money just falls on them. I mean, man, what a gifting. Wow. The Lord just has blessed you. And they're like, yep, I'm not called to sing. I'm not called to do this or that, but I'm called to finance. What do you need? You need some money? Here you go. Go do ministry. And the Apostle Paul talks about those kind of people and gives great thanks for those that support him in his ministries. I'm like, man, that's a great calling. Wow. Just throw money at people. But there's some of us who are called to do different things. And when you're called to something, then when you're not doing it, you feel off. You feel this unrest in your spirit, like going, I'm not fulfilling my calling. And so that's what I feel that my primary function here is not to preach, is to create a platform to facilitate people's calls. That's what I want to do. And that's how I've tried to set this up. We're not scared to put someone who says, you know what, I'm called to play this instrument, but I haven't touched it in 50 years. I don't know what to do. Well, get on stage, let's start strumming. It might sound bad for a couple weeks, but eventually it's going to sound good. We're not afraid of taking risks or the risk of sounding bad or looking a little bad or not being perfect. We're willing to stumble through things till we get better. And sometimes that might frustrate some people, but that's the real life journey. We don't get a finished, perfect product right away. There's work that has to be done. So I've shared the darkest thing that's really just kind of in my brain is that. When I look around, there's nothing else that really bothers me. There's little things that us as a ministry that as we grow, as we get stronger, we can get better. But the reality is for me, all I see that I can do is show up, be myself, follow what the Holy Spirit's telling me to do, and do what I'm called to do to the best of my abilities, and meet the other expectations that I need to meet as the senior pastor to the best of my abilities. If I'm doing that, the success of this ministry is up to everyone else. Everyone else has the choice to say, you know what, this is where I want to be. This is a community that I'm committed to. And this is as much as I'm going to put in. And I can't change that. I can't change that on any individual level. I look at our roster. I know how many people we have on our roster. And we've never had everyone on our roster here. Ever. The entire time we've been open. Sometimes I'll say the word, we've got 40 people, 50 people. On our roster, we have that many people. The attendance level of those people is all different. The commitment level of every single name is all different. Even with me and my wife. My commitment level to the church is different than my wife's commitment level to the church. And we told the district that when we started. So it's not even each family's commitment level, it's each individual name on the list is a different commitment level. Abigail's commitment level is different than my wife's commitment level. She's a part of the church. Right? And so that's where we're at. We have a great opportunity to do some really cool stuff. But it takes manpower and it takes people willing to go through the work of it all. And sometimes that's doing the same service format over and over and over until we build enough momentum to do something different. Or it's us changing the whole format, changing the mold and saying, you know what? Maybe we should do things in a different way. Maybe the order of things isn't connecting everyone the way that it needs to connect people. So aside from Sunday morning, there's some other things that I think about that I go, okay, what else do we need to be healthy? We need to get back around the table. The table is what built us. Having food, opening the scripture, having a little bit of discussion, but ultimately getting to know each other. That built us. And we changed that to provide a place of kind of comfort for newer people. So it was less intimidating for when newer people walked in the door. I mean, when you walked in the door during pre-launch, we were all sitting around a table having breakfast, and that seemed kind of different. And I wasn't sure if people would walk in the door and would like that. So we said, okay, this is what we want to do. We want to do this type of format. We want to have a traditional-ish looking service, which is interesting because the type of service we have used to be considered unconventional. Contemporary, edgy, trendy, and now it's traditional. So I've been reading in my Bible. And a lot of things that was happening in ministry was happening around the table. With food. They fed the 5,000. So there's a teaching that happened, and then they fed people. There's another miracle where they fed people. There's a lot of different things. Jesus was at someone's house and someone prepared food. And I'm like, interesting. And then I had a conversation with my mom. Because my mom's cool. Oh, my mom's awesome. And somehow we ended up talking about being around the table. And I was like, okay, so think about the crucifixion. So let's think about the crucifixion for the moment. The crucifixion happens, it happens, Jesus is dead, he's buried, then he rises from the grave, he shows himself to different people. So we get past that, we get past all that stuff. And we think of the state of Christianity after that point. They are in pagan Rome, so Rome's in charge. At the height of Rome's strength. And Christianity is now on the scene, and it's considered a rogue religion. It's considered kind of almost a rebellion in some sense. So it's a persecuted religion. And so the church grew, meeting in smaller groups, in smaller fellowships, for fear of their life. The disciples didn't just put up, all right, now let's next this church right here in the middle of Rome, but they don't like us, and they could literally come in with swords and kill us all, because that's what they're doing right now. They didn't do that. They met in taverns, in inns, in back alleys, and around mountains, in the wastelands, in different places, and spoke the good news that Jesus had rose again. That's what they did. They met in these smaller settings. And I'm like, okay, Lord, so if my biggest fear is the health of our community, then we need to go back, because this is the year of foundation, right? I've said that. That's the theme for this year is foundation. If that's part of the foundation of what builds the church, then we need to get more around the table. So that's why me and Heather used to be part of a Tuesday night small group in Grand Forks. It was with Thrive Church, because our neighbors were members of Thrive. And they invited us over. We were youth pastoring at another church. But Tuesday night, we didn't really have anything going on. So we were unofficially a part of Thrive through their small group. Never went to any of their services or anything like that, but we were a part of their small group. And it's just a group of people that met at the same house every single Tuesday. And there's, 5 families? I think there's 5 families, all about the same age. And we each took turns bringing food. So, if it's hosted at my house, then whoever's supposed to cook either shows up early and cooks, or they bring the food with them, or they buy it pre-cooked. You don't have to cook it. You just have to provide dinner. So if you come in with 3 boxes of pizza, all right, hey, that's what you did. Good job for you. And then we just talked, and we had fellowship, and our kids are running around, or we're pregnant. Because I think we were mostly pregnant at the time. Well, we is a very generous term to include me. It's a very generous term. And that's what it was. And then eventually the group got bigger and we hired a babysitter. And we each pitched in a little bit. So then there was a babysitter in the basement with all the kids while us adults were upstairs enjoying some adulting. Until things got crazy and we're like, oh, that's my kid. I guess I should go check on that one. And I'm just like, I think that's something that we need to do. Me and Heather missed that type of fellowship, and our people are missing that type of fellowship. So that's what our goal is. So this Tuesday, that's what triggered that, is let's get our families around the table, let's figure it out. It might not look the same as what it did for us in Grand Forks. It might be a bunch of us sitting upstairs and kids in my basement and other kids in my living room playing video games, but at least we're all in the same place, having fellowship together. And there might be nights where I have to work, where Heather's on call. We'll figure it out. It might not be convenient, it might not be easy, it might not get anyone to come. There might be nights where it's just no one came. All right, well then there's next week. We'll see what happens. So that's what I'm going to do, and it'll be my hope that gains momentum and others decide, I want to host a getting around the table as well. Hopefully the opportunity for someone to host it in Grand Forks will be easier, so our Grand Forks group can meet in Grand Forks, our Crookston group can meet in Crookston, and if people want to make the drive out to there, they can. So hopefully we can build options. So that's one of the key ministries that I feel I need to personally put my hand on and say, okay, I'm going to take up this extra duty and make it happen. And lead by example, and then hopefully others will draw to that. And then the next ministry we have going on is we have Celebrate Recovery, which Austin and Kayla have been very faithfully leading, and that is going very well. It's a good setting, and so it's good. So that's going well. Next ministry that's going really well is our worship team. Our worship team is a separate ministry that benefits most of the other ministry of the church, but the worship team is a separate ministry, so that's going well. So then I ask myself as pastor, what other ministry do I feel is very necessary? And there's 2 that come to my mind. Kids, hospitality. Kids, hospitality. Kids, hospitality. What's hospitality do? Hospitality helps me maintain the building. Most of the cleaning is done by me. And I'm okay with that. So I'm not complaining. It's very peaceful to be in here with some music and have my cell phone muted and just be cleaning the Lord's house. It is very nice. I like it. I sometimes like cleaning in here alone better than when there's other people, because then I don't have to answer any questions or have any dialogue or anything. But sometimes it's also very inconvenient to have to come in and clean everything too. So it's a little both ways, right? That's one part of hospitality. Another part is decorating. We live in a seasonal world. People like seasonal change. Oh, it's Christmas time, let's put the Christmas stuff up. It's harvest time, let's put the harvest stuff up. It's springtime, it's Easter time, let's put those things up. I'm not good at that. I don't got time for that. I don't got time for that. I need a team to just say, hey, we just showed up and the church is different now. Okay, cool, awesome, wow, looks great. Good work, everyone. I need to see people that are like, hey, you know, it's Carlotta's birthday. We mailed her a card. Can you sign it, Pastor? Yes, I can do that. And you got everything else taken care of. Hospitality. You know, those type of things are the type of things that eventually I would like to see happen. A team that's watching out for the health of the community. The hospitality team would be the team that's calling people. Hey, we haven't seen you in a month. How are you doing? What's going on? Do you need any meals? Are you struggling financially? What's happening? Because it's a lot for me to do. I do that myself. And my wife gets to see a lot of that, where I'm on the couch, like, who are you talking to? I'm sending messages out to this person, and this person, and this person, because I haven't seen them, and now they're talking to me, and so I'm just trying to make them feel like they're connected, even though they don't show up in anything.
These ones and we got these ones.
Not taking too long, right?
No.
Very close. Okay, good. All right.
You're good.
So then children's. We have lots of children.
It's downstairs in the playroom.
We gained a lot of children. If all of our children showed up, we probably have 15 to 16 children. It's a good thing.
More than adults.
But we don't have a place for them. And we don't have a committed team for them. And so my goal is to build a committed team for our kids. So you have to figure that out. I've already kind of talked with Indians here. I think they'd be really good at it. But I don't want to put too much on them. They're a newlywed couple, and they just moved to Grand Forks. So some things, they got to make sure that they're stable enough to come in. And then with COVID going on, so Isaac and his family aren't coming regularly right now because he's an EMT, and he's exposed to that very regularly. And then there's some health conditions that Kate has. So they're very tight-knit on where they go, but that's where our children's directors are. So right now, during this COVID season, they're not doing too much of things. Every so often, me or Heather swing by and we get to visit with them, but they're getting pretty cabin fever. So if you feel free to reach out to them, tell them you love them and stuff like that. And there's different things going on throughout the health of our families. And that's all I will say about that. Just be praying for people. If you don't see them, reach out to them. Let them know that you care about them and stuff. So yeah, that is, I guess, the state of Nexus. I wasn't planning on really talking about that, but I felt like I really needed to. Really just kind of let people know where we're at. We are a fragile ministry. COVID is hurting us. And it's hurting our community. That's what it's hurting. And I don't want to see this break. I don't think any of us here want to see that happen. But there does become a point in a community's health where if there's only 5 or 6 people, you gotta say, is this something we can keep doing? We're not there. We're not there, but it's important to have that discussion before we get at risk of being. And we say, what can all of us do to continue to grow? Because we've grown. We've grown. It's summertime, so it doesn't feel like we've grown because most everyone is out at the lake right now. But we've grown. Our roster is bigger than it was. Talking with my coaches, going through the numbers, they were like, wow, yeah, you're doing better than last year. Like, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like we're doing better. And he's like, it's because of COVID, because of summer, and all of these things, and I've broken my rule. I don't like signs. I hate signs telling people what to do. And the CDC says I have to have signs up. I hate having signs on my building. The Lord's building. I hate signs. I hate cards that say, don't turn this off, or don't do this, don't do that. I hate signs. I don't like signs. Signs send a passive message that you're not welcome, or there's a condition that you have to meet. And so it gives an unintentional negative connotation, even if it is a good message. Usually when people see a sign, the first thing they go is, oh man, oh, well that's really pleasant. Phew. You know, but that's usually most people aren't like, ooh, look, a sign, wow, this is great.
That's buttons. Ooh, a button. Can I touch it?
Yeah, so if we had buttons everywhere, press the button, what's it do? I don't know what it does, but I should just get a random button and just put it somewhere just to see how long people take to come find me and find out what it does. So I've said some things. Anyone want to get up and say some things? You know what? Yeah, we're going to do this. I'm doing this. Someone else talk about Exodus. Someone talk. Who's got something? Anyone got a question?
Not up there, I don't.
All right, who's got a question? All my introverts. Yes. Nothing. I'm not going to say it now. Okay.
I do think kids are important, and I don't mind helping out with the kids, but sometimes Sunday morning is my one time to get away from mine.
Truth.
Yep. But I think it would be good to have something.
Yeah. Come on, RJ.
I have a question. Where are we at on the renovation and paving of the driveway?
Where we're at on the renovation and paving of the driveway is in a couple stages. We are at the getting bids stage because our lovely district and our board don't want us to just go with the first price that we find. Because all of our finances do still get reviewed by the Thief River board, so our parent board, they manage that, and then we are still accountable to the district with where we're at. We're a launch. So that's where we're at right now. I had some guys come out yesterday and look out, so I'm waiting for those numbers there. So we've had about 3 or 4 different groups that have come through, so we're getting close to where we have the numbers, and it's just a matter of getting all of that officially, like, yep, this is the quote, and this is who we're going to go with to do it. Now there is an issue of the leaking that happens when it rains. So that spot right in front of the door needs to be refilled, and underneath the stairs needs to be refilled to prevent the water from coming down. Thankfully, I'm glad we took everything out of there, because when we took stuff out of there was a lot of molded, wet stuff that we threw away. And a lot of stuff was repackaged into nice plastic bins. So the stuff that's down there is mostly safe. But that last rain that we got was really bad. So that's part of that process, is getting that refilled in, and that's kind of a need that we need to do sooner rather than later.
Is that why there's the new gutter extension?
Yes, kind of. It is just an idea to try to keep water, try to redirect the water. We might do some work on the gutters to put it in a better place, because that's not a good place to have the spout be going. I'd like to go somewhere else. So we'll have to look at that and figure that out. Rest of the foundation is good. I'm gonna have someone else come out and just do another double check, but the rest of the foundation is good. Had a conversation with someone, and then had someone come out and do a brief inspection of things. And the rock, there was, before our time, there was some issues with the foundation shifting. And the rocks that were added around the church were to help stop that. And that looks to be the case, where it stopped that or slowed that to where it's not an immediate concern. So the only real concern we have for the foundation is the understairs.
Would roots and plants help that any?
I don't know.
Could you ask the people that are coming out?
It could.
Because I've been looking
Roots
at,
and plants, could that help
yeah.
absorb some of the water so then it doesn't become a big issue?
Because I've been thinking
Dennis
about.
says no.
Dennis says no. Okay. I've been thinking about adding plants to the front.
Oh yes,
so that's
and I think adding plants would be good, but make things look prettier. Hi, Abigail. You're a good one. Like children. Children are good. We've got more children. Like as a group, like all of us, like Kate and Kayla are pregnant, so we have more children coming. I like children. I don't mind having children running around screaming. My children, that's a good topic to talk about. You have my permission to scold my children.
Yes.
So don't let them just go around and do whatever and feel like I can't do anything because they're the pastor's kids, but I have to contain my kids. If it's okay for Lexi to run around, it's okay for your kid to run around. It's a status quo thing. If your kid's on the stage looking at me, it's cool, because Lexi can do the same thing. I'm not worried about that. We're a family community. So let's just be a family community. No one's ever brought it up or felt that my kids were treated special, but it's important to say it before they know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it is fun. And if anyone ever has issues with my kids, tell me.
Now, just let us know. Your kid's a distraction. Okay. Hey, we'll lock them downstairs. I mean, secure them downstairs safely with a volunteer.
Your child doesn't like me,
Ah, you're fine.
but she keeps
You don't
staring
use
at me.
straight shot?
So that's what's going on with us. You know, we've got a lot of plans. We've got a lot of goals. And all of it's, the first way to achieve our goals is having our communities re-strengthened and grow. Re-strengthened and grow. If we could gain 6 more like families that were like here 3 out of the 4 Sundays in a month, that would make me very happy. That would give us a lot more momentum and manpower to do some of the things that I really feel the Lord calling us to do. To be a blessing to the community and to give out more things to the community. I'd like to continue to put more money away into our building fund, into our stuff. I don't feel that this is going to be our permanent building. This might not even be our permanent land. I really have this feeling that if we go in and we dial in on what the Lord's saying do, that as blessed as we've been with our finances, there's going to be an opportunity to buy new land and build a new location that doesn't have stairs. I don't like the stairs in this building. It hinders us in some ways. But this property has been an amazing blessing to our ministry. There's other churches that are having a really hard time financially, and because we inherited property that had very low payment, that was already paid off, we don't have to stress about that. We're coming out better. Our finances have stabilized. I know maybe 3-4 months ago I told you guys we were really taking a hit, and we have now recovered. Which the hit that we were taking wasn't threatening to us, it was just disappointing. You know. It's like, oh man, we saved all this money to be able to put this amount of money into this, and now we have to dip into that extra money that we had to maintain status quo, and now it's like, oh hey look, the money we had saved up is back. Good job. We did it.
What can't you find?
So we're doing good there. You know, we're doing good there. We're very blessed. We have good tithers. We have good pastors, good prayers. And one thing I've learned about our community is you don't like Zoom. Not interested in Zoom. Not interested in that. You'd rather get a pre-recording of me and just watch it at your leisure, or wait till you can be with me in person, and that's fine. Zoom is kind of a headache to do anyway. So that's a good thing. You've got a good community, and you've got good people that like to be near each other. For the most part. So yeah. Anyone else have a question? Concern? Comment?
When is Jesus coming back?
When is Jesus coming back? I don't know the time or the hour, man, but I'm just going to be ready until I'm not ready. And then he'll probably show up.
Abigail, that doesn't taste good.
So by faith, man, that's a hard one. By faith. We'll see what happens. There's still a lot of work to do, man. There's still a lot of people I want to try to save. So I hope you, by faith, I've got lots of time. By faith. We have now. That's why it's now. That's why I talk with such urgency. Because right now is all we've got. This moment right now is all we've got.
Your sister's
Any moment there could be less of us.
Was about right.
So. Well, Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for this time of just kind of discussion and revealing of where we are and who we are, Lord God, and what's on my heart. And I hope, Lord God, that those that watch, those that hear, those that listen, that they hear the tenderness of my voice, they hear the desire of my heart. We're not here to compete. We're not here to just do the norm. That there's such desire for us to be strong and connected and together in fellowship. And it takes us. It takes the army of the Lord. It takes the community of Nexus. It takes people that's willing to say, this is my home, rain, sun, or shine, I'm coming. It takes commitment to build something, to build our dream. We want to fight and fight and fight. Lord, I thank you for giving us the strength to fight. For however long it takes. This is our post. We're called to Crookston, Minnesota. There are many churches here, but you called us here with a unique mission to build strong families, to build a sense of community. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. All right, that's all I've got. You guys be blessed today. May the Lord guide you, keep you safe on the highways and the byways of life. And make sure to call each other, text each other, say hello. When someone walks in, make sure to greet them in the name of the Lord. Sit down, have a conversation with them. Yes, wife.
We should make a directory.
A directory? That's not a bad idea. Who's making the directory? All right, Sarah and Heather, you are in charge of the church directory.
Because I feel like I don't have most people's numbers.
Yeah.
That would be nice to be like, oh, I was thinking about her. I'm going to call her, or I'm going to send her a card, or yes, I'll help you, Heather. So hook up with me.
And with that, can you guys put like anniversary dates, birthdays?
Yes, absolutely.
Yep, I think that would be good, so that way then when we get a hospitality team, we have those dates.
Perfect.
It sounds like we have one already.
Sarah and Heather is not bad, but let's just start with the church directory. You don't want to put too much on the people. All right.
You have to put their age on it too.
So unofficially in this impromptu business meeting, Sarah and Heather have been charged with creating a church directory.
All in favor?
All in favor, say aye. So be aware that means you're going to have to randomly talk to people and get their information, or message them on Facebook, or post a thing in the Facebook group, and you're going to have to do it multiple times. Asking once does not get our people to respond. You got to saturate them with questions and pin them down. If they're introverted, like track them down and be like, you. Nobody just like, oh.
Those close.
All right, good. You have another thing?
Well, I have a question, yeah. In one of my previous churches I was at, we did like, I don't know how to call it, but like a family prayer where we stood up and we held hands together as one family. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
So I used to do that as a youth pastor. Every time we met with my youth and we closed out, we had the prayer circle. And the idea was that everyone in the circle would pray, even if it was just thank you, Jesus, for this group. And so if you had a long prayer, you prayed, and then, but I never let no one got to bypass. Like if there's that kid that was just like, yeah, I'd be like, nope, until you say this, you're not off the hook. And then eventually they started praying and, wanted to volunteer for and stuff like that. The issue is this is not youth group. This is adult church, and not everyone is comfortable holding each other's hands, especially now. Now, like, I automatically like, no, Richard, we're not doing that.
Well, I mean, that maybe in the future.
But in the future, it's something we could bring forward. Maybe it might be better to start it in the small group setting, because then that smaller group can say, yes, I'm comfortable with this, and then let's make that a habit, and then it becomes a bigger thing. But that's how I would start it. So.
We can get a whole week long for
You're perfectly
Yeah, so that's what we got. And make sure to RSVP if you are coming on Tuesday night.
I won't be there.
Yeah, so you just have to RSVP.
No, I'm not RSVPing or refusing.
Well,
She don't
then,
want it, you can't make her.
I can't kick her
Think
out.
you're somebody special or what?
But if no one RSVPs on the event, I'm going to assume no one's coming.
Well, I'm coming. So.
And yeah, you're already out there, so I know Sarah's coming to my
I
house.
got food and some nuggies.
Yeah. So Sarah's coming, but that's happening. So this Tuesday night's the first one, and then we will set a date for the next one, and then the goal is to eventually for it to be an every Tuesday night thing. So, all right, talk to you guys later. It's a game night and dinner.
And Bible study, right? Minor.
Minor Bible study.
Minor.
Well,
Monopoly.
there will be a Bible study during the game because you have to understand how to play the game.
Lots of praying. Do that. Lots of praying. Please let me in.
Yeah, the primary focus is dinner and the game. It's to be in fellowship with each other. Get to know what you like, what you don't like. Cool. All right.
Dismissed.
Yeah, we're good. That's service. That's what we got.
Where are you and I sitting at for studying?
For studying? I just got to get a book in your hands.